Hello everyone, Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. I am here today to do the tarot scopes for the water signs, and we're going to start with the sign of Cancer, and we're going to do the cards. But before we do that, we'll do a quick review of the astrology of October as it applies to Cancer. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. If you have a lot of planets in the fourth house, this can also apply to you. But let's get started. So we have two powerful lunations this month, and of course, Cancer is a cardinal water sign. It is like all the cardinal signs. It heralds the beginning of a season. In the northern hemisphere, it is the season of summer, and in the southern hemisphere, it is the season of winter. The cardinal signs are very powerful because they are initiatory, and so we have two powerful lunations, and Cancer is a sign that is ruled by the moon. So the lunations for a Cancer, no matter what month it is always significant. So we have a new moon on the 6th that is in Libra. Now, for the Cancers, Libra is the fourth house, and new moons are about new beginnings, new opportunities, new projects. And along with that new moon in Libra, very shortly thereafter, less than an hour, I think, Pluto stations direct. So, and the new moon has Mars conjunct the new moon. So there's a lot of energy. So for you Cancers out there, there's a lot of energy for new projects at home. And so if you're considering doing some renovation on your house, this is actually a good new moon to start that process. Now, we do have to remember that Mercury is retrograde at this time. And so perhaps the planning stages or deciding what you want to do or what you can do by yourself, because getting people to come in and making scheduling people may be a little bit difficult in October. We also have the full moon, which is occurring on the 20th of October. That is also a very powerful full moon, as the moon is conjunct Mars still. Mars sort of moves around with the moon, and it is the moon is exactly, well, is very close, is a very close conjunction to Eris. Now, Eris has been in a very tight T-square with Mercury and Pluto. And so that I think Mercury might be out of the T-square at that point, but Eris Pluto is very powerful. Last quarter crisis in consciousness square. It's more collective in its nature, and so it may not affect you personally unless it is hitting a personal planet for you. So, but you will certainly bear witness to the revolution that we are in. We also have a number of planets changing direction. As I said, on the new moon, Pluto changes direction on Saturday the 10th. That's 1010, the 1010 portal. Saturn changes direction. Saturn in Aquarius. For you Cancers, that is in your 8th house. So you need to make sure that all your I's are dotted and T's are crossed when it comes to issues with taxes, other people's money. You need to be above board. It is a time when you can get a loan. So maybe this is a sort of home equity loan to help you do some of the renovations in your home that you want to do. So that's a possibility at this time. And then on the 18th, we have Jupiter and Mercury both going direct. So that's a big deal because Jupiter and Mercury rule the south and north nodes of the moon at this time. That's respectively, Jupiter is ruling the south node of the moon in Sag. Mercury is ruling the north node in Gemini. And we also have this month a trine between Mercury and Jupiter. It's one of three. This is the one where Mercury is retrograde. We had one at the end of September. We're going to have one in October, on October 3rd. Then we're going to have one, I think it's on November 1st. These trines bring flow. And so we have an opportunity to actually utilize the information and the knowledge and the wisdom that we have accrued while those nodes have been moving through Gemini and Sagittarius. So that's going to be, and then they change signs in June. They're going to move, the North Node's going to move into Taurus, the sign of life, and the South Node is going to move into Scorpio, which is the sign of letting go. So that's going to be a whole nother, it's going to be a whole nother can of whoop ass. But we won't talk about that today. All right, so I think that's what I want to focus on. So there's some things going on with that. So let's take a look at the cards for Cancer. Now, I'm going to be using the Connolly Deck. The Connolly Deck. So what is up for Cancer? All right. Of course, Cancer has been kind of up against it ever since Pluto moved into Capricorn, which was in 2008. And it's there until 2024, I think. So we still have a few more years. Those people who are in the later degrees of Cancer are really getting hit with that opposition to Pluto, which I'm a Cancer, and I had my opposition to Pluto in the middle of the 2010s. I think it was 2014 or 2015. And let me tell you, it changed me for the better, but it was a very, very challenging process. You really have to face yourself with that aspect. And your power, your sense of power, and your sense of powerlessness, knowing what you can change and knowing what you can't, and working within those parameters. Otherwise, it can take you out. I actually have a friend who was going through that aspect, and you know, she almost died. So she's good now, but you have to be careful with that. Okay. So we start with, why not? We start with the Fool, right? This is speaking of us moving in a totally new direction. The Fool card in this deck is a little less spectacular. It's not like jumping off a cliff, but there is obviously here a decision to be made, what road to go down. And whatever road he chooses, it will be a new road, because the Fool is about taking that leap of faith. And so Cancer's not always known for our leaps of faith, is going to be taking a leap of faith. What challenges that is the fact that you can't see where you're going. And this is Pentacles. There's always the concern over not having enough physical stability, not having enough food, not having shelter. Cancer worries about food, shelter, home. They're security oriented. They're security oriented for their families, for their countries, for their world. And so this is a whole new sort of place we find ourselves in. And we worry that we may not be able to sustain ourselves. At the root, we have the Queen of Pentacles, which says, yes, you will be able to sustain yourself, because the queens in the tarot are the sustainers of the element. And the Queen of Pentacles says, if you value what you have, if you're grateful for what you have, if you understand the value of what you have, then you will never be without. Gratitude goes a long way. In the past, we have the Seven of Cups. This is indecision. What do I choose? Here you have a person where there's two paths that he can choose, but he seems distracted by the cups in the bush, as it were. So this is confusion. So there's been a lot of confusion. There's been a lot of illusion and delusion going on. So we all have felt that. In the sky, we have the Wheel of Fortune. This says that there is a change of fortune. So, or just a change in general. So change is here, change is coming. And of course we know that because the Fool was the first card to come up. And the Fool is associated with the planet Uranus. In the immediate future, we have the Seven of Swords. This is a bit of a warning. While these two people are, you know, this card always reminds me of the I was going to say musicians on the Titanic, right? They're just like playing, they're playing, and the swords are above their head, doom, as it were. Not that that's what this symbolizes, but what it does symbolize is that you're not seeing everything, and so don't assume that things are hunky dory until all the swords are shown. So this can be, you know, somebody's trying to pull the wool over your eyes here. So just be aware and be careful of that. How it's seen from the outside, we have transition. This is the Death card. This is change. So we had, let's see. We had 3 so far. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are 6 cards I picked. Of the 6 cards I picked, 7 cards? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards I picked. 3 of them have been major arcanas, and those 3 major arcanas deal with the theme of change. Change. We have the Fool, Uranus, change. We have Jupiter, and remember Jupiter is going direct on the 18th, so that's when you may actually see the change. And then how it's seen from the outside is the death of the old way and the beginning of a new. So letting go of the past, letting go of attachments, and moving into new possibilities. Your domestic situation, the Star. So this says that you need to focus on that which you want to create. You need to find your guiding star. Everything has changed. You need to orient yourself. And the best way to orient yourself is to look to the skies, look to the stars. Be inspired, meditate. So it's very important this month that you do those things. Hopes and fears. We have the 5 of Cups. There will be loss. Whenever there's change, even if it's good change, there's always loss. And we have to deal with that. And of course, Cancers don't like to lose anything. It's very emotional for Cancers. So there will be tears, but that's okay because not everything is gone. You have to look around and see what you still have. And that's what you walk forward with. And the outcome is the 8 of Swords. This is an imprisonment of the mind, an imprisonment of the mind. And so if you find yourself caught up in fear, know that it's simply in your head. It's in your head. It is not your reality, but it's how you talk to yourself in your head. Let's see if we can get more. This is the 3 of Swords, which is about sorrow. The 5 of Wands here is it the 6? This is the 5 of Wands, isn't it? This is rough waters, but forward progress. And the Lovers, which is choices. This is not, this is all necessary change, but it's not going to be easy change because Cancer as a sign is generally very attached to the past. And so as the past goes away, they sort of lose their focus, or they lose their sense of connectedness to something. And you know, a free-floating Cancer is not a happy Cancer. They like to be connected to something. And what these cards are indicating is that you need to connect to spirit. You need to connect to spirit. So while it's good news that there's new beginnings and new opportunities and all of that, it's still going to be very scary for most Cancers. And you know, it's not just Cancers. I mean, we all have Cancer in our chart somewhere. We all have a 4th house in our chart. So it is going to be let's just say it's not like you jump off the cliff and it's like, oh, everything is perfect. No, there's going to be challenges, but it's nothing that you haven't been through before, and it's nothing that you can't overcome and move through and make better choices around. So you will have the choice. In fact, you'll have the choice whether you want to wallow or if you want to say, well, what the heck? We're here now. Let's make the best of it. Right? Maybe you should hang around a few Sages. That'll help. All right, guys. I hope you enjoy that. Like, subscribe. If this is something that you find helpful and you want to share it with a friend, please do. Oops. Things falling around all over. Have yourself a great month, and I will be back next month for the Taroscopes of November. Take care. Namaste.